seeing the charging of illegal, or how is it ensuring that institutions don't charge extra levies? Two, one assumption for education to be free is that the Ministry of Education, through the Teacher Service Commission, adequately staff schools, that schools are staffed with adequate teachers. We know that in schools that are up to Form 4, we could only be having a principal sent by the Teacher Service Commission. The rest are teachers on BOM, boards of management, and yet those teachers will require to be remunerated or paid. Now, from which resources, if the schools will not be allowed to charge extra levies so that they can meet the payment of those teachers. So I think, the minister is saying, that we ring-fence resources. At the same time, the point where we are in, we are not able to meet all the requirements for free basic education in this country. So we must just be alive to that fact. And then now we tell the country that, yes, we have this challenge, and therefore, though the Constitution, the Basic Education Act is saying this, the guidelines are saying this, but the reality and the real issues on ground are not aligned to that. So what is the comment and the view of the Cabinet Secretary in relation to this? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Cabinet Secretary, answer this and then we'll go to the next question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But one fundamental issue you have to take note of as you're answering is that you admit that there are funding gaps. The funding gaps. And you have not created a provision for the head teachers to fill in that funding gap. Now, how do you expect institutions to move? Because the funding gap is there, the additional resources needed is not there, and you don't allow the principals to charge that funding gap to make it legal, because it's free education, free compulsory primary education. Maybe you need to be very clear about that. And if you need more time, you can then ask the House.
Mr. Speaker, I'll need more time to deal with that, but let me say this. The funding gap is a gap that we continue working with National Treasury to reduce. For example, as I've indicated, for this financial year 25-26, there was a funding gap of 26 billion. We managed to have it reduced by 3 billion during the first supplementary, and we continue working towards ensuring that by the end of the year, we would have reduced it substantially. That's why any levies that any particular head teacher or principal levies on account of the gap, the policy is that it is an illegal levy and it is not allowed. And they cannot use that levy further, for example, to send children home. That's what the official position is. That is the government policy that is subsistent at the moment. But as I've indicated, because this is an issue relating to lack of resources, we need to work towards ensuring that that gap is reduced and the funds for the ministry, once submitted, is ring-fenced so that we avoid situations in future where head teachers or principals are forced to try and fill that gap using their own method. So what I'm trying just to say is that the ministry's position is to work towards, through the government, to reduce that funding gap, and where the resources are being given to the institutions, as earlier indicated, for them to be used optimally so that we can be able to meet the obligations that are required within the resources that we receive from the government. So that really is the position. What I can undertake here...
Most of the MPs here, if you followed very well, their contributions and their concerns is that